How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. Oh boy, we got a good one today. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm an avoidant ass motherfucker. I don't know if you guys know that. You guys did know that. I know you did. But we're gonna get into that a little bit. You know what it is. And here's the thing. I know I got the question from last week. I'm gonna tackle that. We probably are gonna go through just that one question. But today we're gonna be talking about just like this crazy phenomena that is being like a fucking avoidant, egotistical human being. So, and here's the thing, I know a lot of us like to think that we can heal that or we're above that. But to be honest, I think we all have it. We all do. That little bit of ego, that little bit of avoidance. A lot of us, I would say, are, for the most part, somewhat insecurely attached. I would say. And maybe we don't even need to label it. We're just fucking human. And so I don't even know where to fucking start this story. All I know is this. Okay, so I'm talking on the phone with my best friend. Hey, my boy Jay. I'm having like this weird day where I don't know. I'm feeling like down. What ends up happening is like, you know how I've been rolling. You guys know that. I've been on my shit, been feeling really good, been in my peace, focused on the process, not worried about the output, whatever it is. And then weirdly enough, what happens is like sometimes you're in your routine, you're moving along, things are feeling really good. Next thing you know, right? A couple things don't go the way that you want them to. And then the old patterns start to resurface. And I think that's what's happened to me over the last like 2 days is just like, I've been getting way more outcome focused. I've been proving myself. And it's crazy how just like in relationship, like, cause he was asking me on the phone, he's like, oh, what's going on? Like, why do you think you're feeling this way? I was like, bro, it's fucking girls, man. Like it's just like when I really boil it down, I'm like, yeah, like definitely work. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm always fucking stressed about content and like the direction I'm going and all this shit. But I find that I get knocked off my path when relationships are involved in my life. And it's funny because last week we talked about how like when you are single and you're going to start dating again and you've built a lot of peace on your own, inherently like dating and relationships are inherently sometimes not really peaceful. Like there's triggers, there's things you don't want to face, right? You get somebody else involved and your vulnerability starts to go to that other person. Oh my God, shit just starts going fucking crazy. So me and him came up with the title of this episode. Actually, it was more Jay, so I'm going to give him his flowers. But he said, you should talk about being ethical avoidant. And the premise of this is that I'm avoidant, but I'm ethical and I'm fucking trying. And it's crazy because like overcoming that, number one, is a lifelong journey, but also just like, it's almost like it's a pattern that I'm always just going to have to deal with. And I think a lot of people, right? It's like the entire world is built on this sense of like conditional love. You do something good for other people or other people see you as valuable, check mark, green light, you're amazing, gold star. And so that's how we grow up, right? Like as kids, is everything in life kind of feels like we're doing it, for the approval for love, right? We want acceptance. We want love from other people. And so all of us have just developed this like ego of wanting to earn. And a lot of us, it's interesting, we all like kind of seemingly love this way. I mean, like, think about this. For most people, like, who are you most attracted to? And I'm not talking about like over the long haul. I'm not talking about like in the grand scheme. I'm talking about like in the moment, right? Where, someone's being a little bit dismissive towards you. They're not showing you as much energy. And then you got somebody else that's like showing up. They're available, they care, they want to, they want to be in your ecosystem, they want to love you. Which one are you pulled towards? It's so fucked. It's fucked. So I think that's what's been happening lately. So, last week I was talking about a little bit how like the girl, I like hit her up and, I told her my availability and she never hit me back. And I think what happened is as a result, what happens, right? Like that uncertainty comes and what your brain wants to do is now think of every fucking reason as to why it didn't work out. You start going crazy. You're like, oh, maybe I said too much. Maybe I am too much, right? We do the whole overthinking thing. We're just going balls to the walls on how we need to be better, or that we're too much, or that we love too hard, or some fucking bullshit. And we stress ourselves the fuck out about it. So what's happened is like, I still have this girl on social media. And this is like another point of contention that I wanted to like, we're going to talk a bit about it right now, which is like, this girl didn't really answer my text and my availability, but we still follow each other. So she's still watching my stories. So what ends up happening inherently, right? I'm on this good vibration. I'm feeling peaceful. I'm posting authentically. I'm on my good energy. And then relationships come in and they just fuck shit up. Now I have this girl that ghosted me that's still following me on social. So what happens? Ego takes over, right? So instead of staying on my energy of authenticity, my self-trust goes down, right? My self-confidence goes down because this person has rejected me. My ego gets bruised. So now I'm trying to even the score. So now instead of showing up and being my like authentic, loving, goofy, fuck around self, what happens? I'm pressing. I'm taking pictures and I'm like, is this good? Do I look hot? Do I look good in this picture? I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? Why am I taking 10 pictures right now? What's happening? And I realize, and again, that's what happens. You become outcome focused, right? These little things happen to you. You're on your good vibe. You're feeling authentic. You're doing your thing. Somebody comes in, fuck shit up. And now I'm out here trying to prove myself. And I lose the plot. I lose the process. And because I lose the process and I start looking at the outcomes because I want the outcomes, because in order to feel good about myself, I need to prove to these girls like, hey, I'm doing good online. Fuck you, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, what ends up happening? You start posting like that, or you start showing up to your life like that, right? Almost like for the outcome, and the results start getting worse. So now I got this double whammy where it's like, I'm not showing up as authentically as I want to, or I'm not just like, again, I'm too much thinking, right? We're in that overthinking, anxious kind of vibration, right? Because we're so concerned that uncertainty, again, is killing our brain. We're trying to figure out why this person is not showing up, why they're not showing up. And then on top of that, inadvertently, we're trying to get them to show up. That's what's crazy. Like subconsciously, I'm trying to be like, oh, okay, check me out. You don't want to text me back? Fuck you. Look, I'm hot. But what do we got to do? Remember, we talked about the tool last week. Remember? Deep breath. Let's do one real quick. Just for the viewers. Come on, baby. Me and you. We're going to do a little deep breath together. We need to. I maybe you're feeling a little stressed today. I don't know, where you're at. Maybe you're in your car. I love this. One more for the women and children. All right. We're back. That feels better. We've calmed down the nervous system, right? We can't overthink. Because what needs to happen, right? In order for us to get out of this energy, the interesting part is we do still need to take an action. We still need to show up for ourselves, because what ends up happening is sometimes we start to overthink and we just get caught in that, again, the ping pong, ting, 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 ting. Like, why this? What's going on? We need to move our way out of this, calm ourselves down, remind ourselves that we're safe. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, homegirl, you know what? She didn't show up for me. That's okay. Guess what? I even had this battle of like, oh shit, should I like mute her? Should I like remove her off social media? And I actually sat with that. I even threw it into ChatGPT. I was like, hey, is this weird? I'm like, hey, would it be weird for me to do that? I was like, but here's the thing. And I told it, I was like, here's the thing. I want to really understand my motivation behind my actions, because that to me is the core of it. Now, if I'm removing this person to protect my peace, that's okay, right? If it's genuine. But I think in this moment, for me as an avoidant person, actually, ethical avoidant, here we go. He's back, baby. Ethical avoidant, I want to look at that situation and say, am I doing that because I'm trying to run away from this disappointment, right? Am I doing that because I almost like need to prove a point, right? Get them out of my face, whatever it is, run away. That's the typical response. And here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with like removing somebody off of social media or whatever it is. But I would challenge you, if you ever are at that crossroad, where you're like, okay, this person didn't like, show up for me and whatever. For me as an avoidant, and again, if you're an anxious person, I don't know, maybe you want to remove them. But I would say as me as an avoidant person, I actually think it was more beneficial for me to let it rock and just let it be and not make an action. I don't need to do that. What I need to do is be able to face that and sit and deal with those uncomfortable emotions and allow somebody to just not choose me. That's okay, right? Take my deep breaths, remind myself I'm not in danger. Nothing's going to happen. It's okay. It's not a missed opportunity, but just it didn't work out. And just get to the next moment. I know that I'm going to be cool, right? Everything's going to be all right. So I didn't like mute. I didn't, get rid of her. None of that. I had that like little moment of like, maybe if I should. And it's weird. Like today felt so much better. I was like, all right, cool. Well, you know what I'm saying? I moved through that discomfort and it was crazy. It was almost just like I got to that other side and like I was fine again. And I was like, all right, perfect. Ethical avoidant, 1 point for us. We're fucking vibing. So now this brings us to our second portion of this, which is this. I was talking, remember at last podcast, I said, hey, well, now there's this other person that had reached out to me and yeah, like vibes are on. It's craziness. I'm going to tell you guys this. This is wild, but like this girl, like she like found me on Instagram. She follows me and I saw her profile. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, this girl is exactly my type. Like looks wise, I was blown away. I was like, this is it. I was like, the image I draw in my mind, it's on the screen right now. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, this girl is fire. But new Chris, right? What I don't do anymore is press it, right? Old Chris is pushy and feisty. Remember, I told you guys, I don't want to chase the attention anymore. I'm really doing my best to allow it to come naturally and really go slow. And it's been a dramatic difference. Even this last situation with the girl and the ghosting, there was even little moments in that interaction in which I still felt myself like being fast, when she had come over that night, we'd push the tempo and obviously things went where they went. And I realize now that if I'm going to date more intentionally, which I feel like I'm, doing more these days, I just got to be slow. I got to get to know people. I got to just be their friend first and just let things evolve naturally. That's something that I feel like I've really had to challenge myself to do, is really let things evolve, right? I don't need to talk to you every second. Just because you followed me right away doesn't mean I need to interact and engage so quickly. I don't need to do that, right? Let's let it marinate. Let's let things cook, right? Even when I go on a date with somebody, and let me get to that point because we'll get there. But anyway, she follows me and I'm like, whoa. And then, she's liking a couple of my pictures. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to say anything. Of course, what happens? She DMs me first. Fire. I was like, are you love bombing me? I was like, what's going on right now? I was like, oh, if you're going to love bomb me, let's get on a phone call. I'm sick in the head. But anyways, get on a phone call. Dude, amazing vibes. I'm like, wow, thanks God. You know what I'm saying? This situation ended and all of a sudden you just dropped a dime on my doorstep. Holy shit. And she's like DMing me and this shit. I was like, crazy. I'm not going to go too deep into it. It's not that crazy. We talk on the phone, good vibes, set up a date. And yeah, the date was on. Now here's the sick fucking part of this. Here's the sick part of this. And this is where we're going to talk about the avoidant and the anxious thing. It really comes to light. So I go hang out with her. She cooks me some dinner. Again, this girl is definitely I can tell I don't want to use the word infatuated, but maybe I will. Fuck it. She's infatuated with me. So that's what's cool about it is she is you are so fucking hot. She's like, yeah. I'm like, yo, you need to relax. You know what I mean? I get it, cool, but chill. I mean, it's weird because I thought the same thing about her. So you know how this goes. Maybe there's some potential here. But here's the sick part of it. So I go over her house and, things are on. I don't know. We get into it really quick. She's down, by the way. Like, she is ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is open and whatever. And something that I realized about myself is this. So the last girl that I'd gone on that date with, the thing is, she was definitely more, also a little avoidant herself. So I kind of felt like she was a little bit more guarded than I was. Usually I'm the one that's like more vulnerable or maybe pushing the tempo. And it's interesting because I meet this new girl and she's the one that's doing it now. And what's crazy is like we're getting into it and we're getting intimate, and it's like my body almost like mildly shuts down when I meet a girl that is just like so available. It's fucking wild. Like, I'm literally wired like an avoidant. You know what I'm saying? I am wired. And again, it goes down to the conditional sense of love. I think that there's something to like feeling like there's a little bit of chase. And I think that we all experience this. Again, I know I'm not alone in this because I also had a client that has dealt with this. I'm going to get to her story in a minute too. But yeah, so like we're getting intimate and like, it's almost just like my body's not reacting in the same way as it did to the girl that was kind of being a little bit more standoffish with not the intimacy, but you see what I'm saying? It's like that energy. And so anyways, I'm like, we ended up having a good time. It was still great, but I could feel my body almost being like, I don't know about this person. And what's crazy is like when I initially saw her, I'm like, this is one of the hottest people I've ever seen in my life. But now all of a sudden she's so available and it's like insane. It's like my body's reacting to it like, whoa, I'm getting like stuck. I'm like, this is too much. You know what I mean? I'm like thinking that to myself. I'm like, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fuck. I was like, is this how other people feel when like I showed them a lot of energy? I'm like, fuck. Now it's all hitting me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, shit. But I'm like, this is all good, right? It's all a learning process. Like you're seeing the importance of maybe having that balance and being careful with like your infatuation with somebody. You really got to be patient. This is because you know what it is? Our bodies are also wired to detect danger. And I think I brought this up on an old podcast where I talked about like the college students, right? They did a survey of like why they got rid of their roommates, their college roommate. And it talked about how there was like two main reasons. Like the first reason is they just really didn't get along and they just didn't like each other. But the second reason was that the one roommate was too much. They were too friendly, too fast. So they wanted to change roommates. So I think what happens is psychologically, right? And we talked about it, our bodies and our minds are what? Built for what? Survival, right? And safety. So what happens is when somebody comes into your life and they're coming in with speed, the issue is your body takes that as a red flag because it doesn't understand why somebody could want to integrate into your life so fast unless it felt that they had an ulterior motive. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I think inherently, most people, I would say, you could even label it if you want, are kind of like anxious and also avoidant. I tell you guys that all the time, right? Are insecurely attached. I mean, some of us lean a certain direction more than others, right? I have a tendency, I mean, I'm probably straight down the middle both. I'm either anxious as fuck or I'm avoidant as fuck. And that's why I also said dismissive avoidants are super fucked because you know what I'm saying? If people are so far, you're anxious as shit. And if people are showing up, you're like, get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? Like we're good. But anyways, I guess to wrap this all up, it's like, no matter who you are, you could still be a secure person, and somebody's energy, if it is a lot, you're automatically, your body's going to sense that and push that away. Right? So this is the really, and really the importance of showing up with balance. So, and now fast forward and let's get deeper into the ethical part. Because as you guys know, it's like, I don't want to be avoidant, right? I think the whole idea is that, and especially as an avoidant person, is that you can learn to receive love. That is the key. The whole objective for you is to allow vulnerability into your life. Now, here's the thing, right? I have this girl coming on really strong, and it is hard. right? There's parts of me that like, I feel it. I want to run. I'll give you a specific example. So we hang out this next time. And by the way, too, like, she's kind of initiating a lot of the texts as well, too, which again is not an issue. It really is not an issue. Because again, to the right person and maybe to an ethical avoidant, they're going to sit in there and they're going to hang in with you and communicate. So that's the key, right? And this is, oh my God, one quick thing I just want to say. Communication is the oxygen of relationships. You need it. If you are not communicating, you are not being vulnerable, you are not going to have a relationship. Point blank, period. And so that's what happens with a lot of avoidance is they suck the life out of their relationships because they don't want to communicate, because those feelings become very overwhelming and it's easier to give distance. So I can feel that happening a lot, right? So when this girl's texting me and she's like asking me sometimes like about my day, or like she's just like available, texting me good morning or whatever it is, I sometimes can feel that text and I like it because I'm like, wow, you care about me. But I also get this feeling in my stomach and I'm like, ooh, and it's not a bad thing. It's just the, like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. So what happens is like, I swear to God, I literally cannot even type. This sounds crazy. I get those messages and if she's super available, sometimes it's hard for me to just go right onto my phone and type right back. I mean, sometimes, of course, but like sometimes, again, as an avoidant person, you'll feel this energy and it's just energetic, right? And I remember she texted me early one morning. She's like, oh, have a great day or some shit. And like, I could have texted her right when I woke up, but like, I didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just like text her when I get to it. So I don't end up texting her till like 12 in the afternoon. And not because I don't want to, it's just more like, I don't know. Again, it's just like wired for, like I'm wired to be like, whoa, this is again a lot. Now, again, this is normal. Like I don't want people to think like this is really that crazy. I know we all feel this way whenever we meet somebody that is showing up with a lot of energy. But again, for me, what I'm trying to do is not run away from that energy. So let me get to the specific example. So we're hanging out and we go upstairs, things get a little frisky. We're in the shower. You know how that goes. And you know what I'm saying? Like her intensity towards me is crazy. I'm just going to put it out here because I really don't give quite a fuck. But like, I've never met a girl that this girl is just orgasming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even doing much. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's fucking wild when you meet somebody that just likes you so much right away. It's freaky. It's freaky. So anyways, like we're in that moment. And again, intimacy wise, it's strange as fuck. I'm looking at this human being that's in front of me that, again, in my mind of what I want in a type is sitting and standing right in front of me. Gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? Yitties, everything. She's got the full package. And my body's like, I don't know about this. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like slapping it. I'm like, dude, get it together, bro. What's going on? But here's what's crazy is you can't deny what is true and real to you, right? I can't deny the experience that I'm having. So, I don't know. It eventually gets going, whatever. We get going and things happen, right? Whatever. But I can tell that she can feel me kind of like pulling away a little bit, right? Like I could feel her wanting this intimacy from me. And like now I'm kind of like almost just like, standing there, finish the shower, whatever. We go lay down. And the feelings that I'm having are just so overwhelming that I needed to share. And I know that a lot of people don't do this because I actually just like told my boys about this last night and they were like, dude, you're the most honest person I've ever met. Like, I would never say any of these things to these people. I'm just like, well, again, ethical avoidant. Like I've done a fuck ton of work to get to this point. Like this is what it's about. So this is what it's about. So I'm sitting there, I'm having these feelings, and you guys know, right? I teach you guys all the time, right? It's like, get into your body. What is your experience? How are you feeling? And communicate it vulnerably and honestly, which is difficult to do. So I'm laying down with her and we're just kind of chilling, and she could feel something's off and something's wrong. So I take like a couple deep breaths. I'm just like feeling, and like, I'm just like, I just tell her honestly, I'm like, hey, like, honestly, like I feel avoidant. Like I feel that way right now. And I was like, to be real, like, you know, I'm enjoying this. I don't want you to change your behavior at all. Like, I think you're an amazing person, but I just want you to understand, like, for me and my patterns, typically in my past, like, I struggle when somebody shows up the way that you do, right? Like, you know, it's just a lot. And I want you to understand that. And I even told her, I was like, you know, I want, you know, cause I was like, and I know that you're not, cause she's like, what am I doing? Like, she's like, am I even doing that? She's like, what she's trying to tell me is that, listen, I know we just met, like, don't worry. Like, there's no, you know, boundaries on the relationship yet. None of that. I'm like, it's not that. It's not that there's not boundaries on the relationship. It's just that energetically I could feel it from you. There's nothing you can do to hide how you feel. So my anxious, I just want to pause you for a second, because a lot of y'all think that you can control your feelings to the point of like the other person doesn't notice how much you like them. And I want to pause you there, because you really can't do that, because whether you like it or not, the way that you text, it's obvious. The energy that you have, it's obvious. Like, this girl's around me and I could feel her energy. I'm like, if I wanted to fuck this girl for 24 hours, she would be saying yes. You know what I mean? Like, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could feel it, you know? So here's the thing. As an anxious, I don't want you to hide away from those feelings. Again, I want you to try to center and ground yourself as much as you possibly can, because there is a way to attack your infatuation and try to let it go. We talked about the breathing, slowing yourself down. There are ways to slow yourself down, but ultimately your feelings are your feelings. They're out there, you know? And that's what I was trying to tell her too, is like, here's the thing. I don't need you to change. I don't need you to be different. I don't want you to lower your love. It's not that. Don't lower your love. It's not that. I was like, just, you know, I want to say this out loud to you so that if I ask you, because like, this is what's also going to be crazy too. I was like, I get this feeling inside that because I could feel energetically that you want this amount of intimacy, that if I don't give you this amount of intimacy, that I'm going to disappoint you. And I told her that point blank. I was like, and I don't want to disappoint you, because avoidance, weirdly enough, and anxious avoidance probably, also feel very responsible for how you feel. So not only do I feel responsible for not wanting to hurt her and wanting her to be happy, I also am feeling this feeling of like, oh shit, like maybe I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not at the same level she is. You know what I mean? I'm not there. And it's not that it's not possible. It's just that I'm not there yet. And so the hard part is again, is like, I feel this energy and I don't want to disappoint you. So I feel weird, because now I'm feeling like a disappointment if I'm not as energetic as you are. So what I needed to do is I needed to just get all these feelings out and tell her, so that we could bridge the gap, right? So that she understands. Because what I need her to understand is that, hey, if I don't want to have sex right now, like, I don't want to feel weird for telling you no. And the reason I'm saying this out loud is because, again, I want to show you that, like, the reason that I'm also struggling to say no, because I'm struggling with that boundary of like maybe slowing things down, is because I don't want to disappoint her. But if I tell her that I'm afraid of disappointing her, maybe it makes it easier for me to say no. We actually get closer. Do you see that? Ethical avoidant. Ching. We're back, baby. So, but anyways, she's telling me, oh, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And then I was telling her, I was like, listen, I get what you're saying, and I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you telling me that we're not that far into the relationship. But I just want to say, like, yeah, I was like, let me come to you a little bit. You know, I want to be able to do that. And also, not only just let me come to you a little bit, like, if I say no to something, or if I don't want to hang out, I just also don't want you to feel that I'm going to run away from you completely, right? I told her, I was like, I'm a very strong communicator. If I actually felt that I just actually wasn't a match for you, or this is just too overwhelming and I couldn't do it, I told her, I was like, I will tell you honestly. So this actually navigates, right? Me feeling like now I could say no more openly without feeling like I'm going to disappoint her, because now she understands that I just sometimes feel kind of avoidant. And so that's what you need to do as an avoidant person, right? Is like, the hard part is having those vulnerable, honest conversations in those moments, right? I noticed how I was feeling. I was like, fuck, I'm feeling avoidant. And then I'm telling her to her face, hey, like I'm classic avoidant. This energy that you're showing me, I'm feeling this way. I don't want you to feel sideways if I sometimes can be, a little distant, right? And again, if I'm going to evaporate out of your life, like I really would say that to you. And this to me is the credit to, like, again, the security, the self-security that I've built over the years of like recognizing my feelings and not running away from it. Because here's the other factor too, is like, yo, it's so fucking nice when somebody cares about you like that. The fact that she looks at me like that and is that excited and feels that good, that's the kind of love that we all want. The hardest part is legitimately sinking into it. So let me bring up my client for half a second. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, I've talked about this client in the past, but I told you guys like her boundaries are trash. You know what I mean? Like terrible. She always gets matched up with avoidance. She really struggles with her self-worth. And she like gets these guys that only want to hook up with her ever and just kind of treat her like garbage. So we've been working together for a very long time. She finally this week told that guy like, hey, I don't want to do a hookup anymore. And like, I'm done doing that. So she finally stood her ground. And I was like, hallelujah, holy fuck. And of course, as soon as she did that, what happens? She goes out, she meets this new guy. And now what's crazy is this new guy and her meet and it's instant, right? He also, it's crazy how sometimes me and my clients, it's funny as fuck, we'll run on the same track sometimes. Like we'll be going through the same things at the same time. And it was literally crazy because we're talking today on the phone and she meets this guy. They've hung out like 5 days this week. He's all about it. And she's telling me, she's like, Chris, like this guy loves me. Like, she's like, this guy is about it. And there was a kind of a red flag moment where he actually was like energetically like being a lot. And she kind of was like dismissing him a little bit. What's crazy is she's like, I've never felt this avoidant in my life. She was like, I'm literally, I deal with all these avoidant guys all the time. I finally meet a guy that's like more anxious than she is. She met a guy that's more anxious than she is. And now she's like getting this guy who she has a good vibe with. She likes it. But because his energy is so strong, my client's freaking out and now is being dismissive towards him. I'm like, now you know how it feels for these other people. She's like, Chris, she's like, I understand that, but she's like, I've never been this anxious in my life. Like, this guy is a lot. Apparently, she had like, was kind of giving him attitude for no fucking reason, which again happens to a lot of, anxious people, right? You get these like cold partners because they're just like sick of your non-boundary shit. And she was telling me how like he was like almost in tears about her not showing up or her potentially, leaving the relationship, because what she keeps doing is she's like, keeps telling him, hey, I've been really hurt in a lot of my relationships. Like, this is a lot. She keeps telling him, I don't trust that this is going to last, because she's gotten hurt so much. This guy's showing her all this energy. She doesn't even trust it. That's what's crazy. It flip-flops. But this is what I was trying to tell you guys about, how even the most anxious people are also avoidant as well. It's an insecure attachment. Again, it's this sense of unconditional love. Like, think about this, like for her too, and for me, right? Like when she was growing up, she had this parents that she had no emotional closeness with, none, right? She was never chosen, always like, criticized and all this shit. So to be honest, that's the type of love that you are familiar with. And that's a lot of people. I mean, think about it. In the grand scheme of life, whenever you talk to people, like how many people do you know personally have like these really secure, emotionally available parents where both of them are emotionally available? Like both, mom and dad. Pretty rare, right? Like sometimes you'll meet people that, divorced parents, but they have a semi-good relationship with some. Then you meet some where it's like, yeah, I don't even fuck with my parents at all. I'm like, holy shit. And it's not even just the parents thing too. It could also be other things in childhood, right? Like it could be also like, maybe you were just like, kind of like, I don't want to say like an ugly kid, right? But on the playground, like nobody fucked with you. And again, yeah, it's like, again, but it's all, again, right? This idea of like this competitive ego love growing up. Think about it as kids, like that's what it is, right? The cool kids and the hot kids, they get all the love. And if you're not funny or you're not cute, you don't get any. And that's what our society is really built on. Like I said, this conditional sense of love. So what happens is for people that have an insecure attachment, whether even anxious or avoidant, that's the thing, is you're always going to gravitate more towards conditional relationships. Now for her, right, she's healing. The conditional relationships that she usually finds herself in are the ones where, yeah, they're really just being hella distant because it's familiar to her. That's the dynamic she's used to, is people dismissing the fuck out of her and her trying to chase and get her needs met all the time. That's how her life has always really been. And now it's fucking crazy because all she asked for, right, is this guy to show up in her life and fucking cherish the shit out of her. But now he's going so hard that like, she's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Now she's like being dismissive and shit. She's like, I need a moment. Or she like gives him attitude for no reason. Literally she's like, yeah, holy shit, Chris. Like there's times where like he's being so kind that like, and he's like, it's almost like corny. She sees it as corny. She's like, oh, he's so corny. And she's like, yeah, he like calls me like a pet name. And she's like, I just get the ick. And again, I understand it, right? Again, like I don't want to lose sight of the fact that like, that's also not really healthy either, right? We want to balance love. And same thing with the girl that I'm talking to, right? It's like, this is good. You're a cool person, but you actually do need to reel it back. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? But again, I think the right person, we're all imperfect. And I think that's the core of this too. And what I'm trying to help her with is that this guy is not a lost cause just because you're having those feelings. What I'm trying to teach her to do, just like I do, right, is like when you have those moments of avoidance with a person that's showing you that energy, you have to be able to sit with that. It's okay if you take a little bit of time to send a text message, right? Sometimes there's times where like, I just need a moment. Because what happens is for a lot of avoidance is you just kind of need to calm your nervous system down, just like how the anxious does. The thing is the avoidant doesn't really realize it like that. You see what I'm saying? Like in that moment for me, right, where we're getting intimate, she's showing me all this energy. I am overthinking. My nervous system is kind of like, but my nervous system, the way that it works is like, I want to push away, right? Same thing in her particular case, right? He's showing you this energy, your nervous system, because again, it's insecurely attached, right? It's all about regulation. You're dysregulated for a second. And what you need to do is you need to regulate yourself for a second and get to the next moment. Because that's what she says. She's like, what's crazy is this. She's like, I might feel it in that moment that he sends that text message, right? He sends this really kind, sweet message and she feels it, right? Where it's like, ugh, ick. I don't know if I want to fuck with this. This is like, ugh. But what you need to do in those moments, so I told her for her, instead of giving him attitude and reacting or reacting and dismissing, take a moment. Breathe, relax, ask yourself, what are you feeling? Oh, I'm feeling avoidant. Do you actually not like this guy? No, I do like him. He's attractive. Like we have a great conversation. All right, relax. Be still for a second. Take it easy. And that's what she said too. It's like, she's like, yeah, if I let a little bit of time go, I then text him. And then I get excited to like text him again and talk to him again. And that's what we're talking about, right? Again, the ethical avoidant. We're trying to make them. It's almost like we're healing it, but in real time, right? But we're using communication and good communication. For her, what she needs to work on is not giving him so much attitude in those moments and understanding that she's just reacting. Can't you just take a second and breathe and be patient with him? And the more that you can communicate to your anxious partner that you just sometimes need some space or you need some time or to slow down. You give them a roadmap on how to treat you better. I told you guys earlier, right? Communication is the oxygen of relationships. That is what you need. Always, 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 always. Maybe this situation needs more oxygen. And so in her particular case, again, that's all it is. And I always challenge her and hold her accountable. Be vulnerable. Tell them how you feel. Because what ends up happening is this, right? As an avoidant, most of the time, you're feeling avoidant, but because you're avoidant to your own feelings, you're not paying attention to it. And what happens is on the surface, you get the ick and you start acting like an asshole. You start being critical. You start being dismissive. I could feel myself sometimes with this girl, right? Like she's saying like these really kind shit and she's being available. I'm like, ugh. But instead of reacting, right? Take a second, breathe, patience with that person, space, let it go, communicate, right? Because again, most people, we react, dismiss, and then maybe we push away somebody that actually maybe will show up for us and be actually a really great partner, but we just are getting so turned off by their love. That's what's crazy, is most people in society get turned off by genuine love. Because most people have a conditional sense of love. They feel like they need to earn. Ego always wants to earn. Ego always wants to know what's next. Ego always wants the grass is greener, right? If somebody's not dismissing me, then how do I know it's valuable? If somebody's not making me pay a price for this, how do I know it's worth something? So again, I hope though my anxious are listening to this though as well and understanding the importance of that balance, right? Both sides need to work on emotional regulation. And again, the big thing is also communication, especially for I'm telling you, that to me is more on the avoidance side. It kills everything because again, the reaction is sometimes to also just ghost and leave alone, but you can't do that either. You need to actually lean back into the relationship and tell them what's going on. But sometimes it's also hard to do that because also a lot of avoidance as well too. You're actually scared of the outcome. You know something that's crazy is that my client, she was like, she kind of gave him attitude once and then he came back with attitude for the first time. And I think he like double texted her and he was like, oh, so you're gonna like, he's like, all right, I'm just going to go then or something like that. He said like, oh, I like, all right, fine. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine. Right. Which is first off an anxious statement, right? Because you're validation seeking. So my anxious, chill out. But regardless, she texts him back, right? Like, oh, don't worry. Or like, I'm back. He didn't answer for 15 minutes. And she was like, in that 15 minutes, I was freaking out. I'm like, is this what love really is, man? This shit is crazy. But again, I don't falter at all. I feel it in myself. I have this girl who's gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, holy shit. But it's crazy how like attraction for an avoidant works like that. It really does. It's like you are actually attracted to the person that is dismissive. You are attracted to the person that is critical. And again, to me, that's why I said it's insecure attached, because I think we both can exude traits of both anxious and avoidant depending on the partner. And it's like sick. It's like, yo, it's crazy. Like I'll be having that reaction in my body when I'm hanging out with this girl. And I swear to God, this is me being real as fuck. I'm being vulnerable. But like, I'm thinking about the girl that's ghosted me. I'm thinking about her. I'm like, oh, like but what about that? I swear to God, this is me. And again, all the regulation I've done in my life, I've recognized this. And again, the emotional awareness that I feel like I've cultivated, I'm having this feeling, right? I could be cuddling with this girl that is showing up for me OD, right? And then I'm having that feeling of avoidance. And what are the thoughts that are coming up? Oh, but what about that other girl? Oh, but what about, like that like turned me on, whatever. And like, I'm like thinking about it. Like, I'm even just like thinking about like, why did that girl ghost me? I'm thinking about why the girl ghosted me while I'm laying down to this girl that's showing up for me. But what I'm getting better at and smarter at is recognizing, we talked about this as well. those thoughts are bullshit. They're bullshit. So I'm sitting there, I'm having that reaction in the moment with her in the bed. And now what I'm good at doing is like, if I have those thoughts, I just breathe. All right. I'm just thinking about that because I'm avoidant. I don't actually care about that. I know I don't want that person. I know I don't want somebody that is dismissive. In order to change the narrative internally, you have to be fucking like Karate Kid to those thoughts. Fuck those thoughts. Stop giving energy to thoughts about the dismissive person. Because, and here's the thing, it's not about not having them. You're going to have those thoughts because you have insecure attachment. So what you need to do is when you have those thoughts, I know myself. I know my patterns. I know that it's not that this girl isn't amazing in front of me. I know that. I know that it has everything to do with my avoidance and my familiarity with conditional love. And so when those thoughts come up, I challenge them and I let them sit there. I'm like, if you want to be in my head, go ahead, stay there. Oh, you want to think about the girl that ghosted me? Go ahead. I give my mind permission. I say, all right, go ahead, think about it. And what do? I just breathe, I relax. And eventually what happens is if I could relax my body enough, I'm really enjoying this girl next to me. I changed the narrative. I appreciate how much she's showing up. I appreciate her authenticity. I appreciate her energy. I appreciate that she cares about me. And that's hard to do. I'm telling you, I know it. And like I said, most people, the reason that they don't do that is because a lot of people are disconnected from their feelings. If you're an avoidant person, you're disconnected from your feelings. And most people don't realize that like their own thoughts can be lying to them. And I just want to preface this. This isn't to say that this person that I'm talking to right now is my wife. That's not it at all. What I'm trying to show you an example of is regulating yourself and how would I say it? It's almost like prepping. Oh, what's that word? Priming. You're priming yourself for unconditional love. You're priming yourself to receive genuine love. And that in itself is a difficult practice. To turn your dial away from dismissive people and critical people to people that are unconditional and are showing you love is a skill that you need to cultivate. It takes discipline. It takes work. To me, it is like the thoughts about the dismissive and critical person are like eating mental Doritos. The thoughts sitting there and sticking in and communicating and allowing that person that is showing you good energy to show up for you, that to me is the grilled chicken. The mental grilled chicken is being able to turn your dial away from those people and towards the good energy, towards the good love. We don't want dismissive people. You have to train your mind and your body to go away from those things. It's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste to receive genuine love. That's what's fucking crazy in our society. It's harder to receive love than it is to chase bullshit attention. Facts. So let me get into the question, because I think that somebody brought up a really awesome point that I want to tackle. And this was from last week, right? She said, how can we stop attracting people who are not available like we would like? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I'm doing too much right now. I need to relax. Whew. I'm giving off those anxious vibes. The reason I got so excited just now is I think we just answered this question. The question again, let me repeat it. How can we stop attracting people who are not available like we would like? I just told you how for 50 minutes, which is we got to change the dial, right? Turn the dial. We got to release the dismissiveness. We got to release the conditional love. We got to stop going after people that make us earn it. We got to stop going after people that are ghosting us. We got to stop going after people that are giving us crumbs. We got to change and attune our bodies and our hearts to open up to people that are available. And you do that by everything I just taught you about, fine-tuning your internal emotional system and understanding yourself and having this self-awareness when you're chasing the Doritos, when you're chasing the unavailable, to choose the grilled chicken. And it takes discipline. It takes discipline to become a secure person, to change your dial towards those people. And again, I would also say too, vulnerability and communication, self-trust. I tell you guys all the time about self-trust, right? Which is like, even the dismissive person that I encountered, right, a week ago, the secret sauce was that I still showed up with love. I still showed up with vulnerability. Was I too much? I don't believe so. Did I give her enough energy to show her that I was vulnerable and available? I did. It sucks that she didn't respond. It sucks that she didn't give me the energy that she wanted to, but showed me her true colors. Now it's up to me to fine tune my system to say, boundary. They're not showing up. You showed up. Boundary. Don't fuck with those people. You're going to think about those people because you're an egotistical fuck. And because you're a human being, and because you are geared towards conditional love, focus your energy towards unconditional love. Shift the focus. Okay, second part of the question. I could relate to you about the attention because my mood depends on that too. Again, ego. That's what it is. That's why I said, think about the example I gave with the girl just now. The guy didn't answer for 15 minutes and he was so available for so long. The mood changes, right? Our moods change with attention. And, to be honest, I don't know if there's a way to fully become impenetrable, right? The girl asked last week about like dating without ruining your peace. My friend Jay, the guy I was on the phone with, the funny part about Jay is he's doing really, he's feeling at peace in his life, but this motherfucker hasn't dated a girl in like so long. He is also a person like many of you that have written off dating. Jay is like, nope, I'm good, dude. He's like, I know that if I have a girl in my life, she's going to inherently fuck shit up. And that's what I'm trying to say. I think in reality, I think it's impossible to say that there could be somebody in your life where it doesn't affect your mood at all. That's, to me, that's humanly impossible. We're not built like that. So maybe it is really more peaceful to not date at all. That probably is, that's true. That is true. But again, you never actually get the highs. You know what's a good example for that? A very weird example, but a good one, is like people that take benzos, that take, what the fuck is it? Anti-anxiety medication, right? Think about it like that. Anti-anxiety medication brings you to a baseline, right? You get right in the middle. You're not too happy. You're not too sad. You're just flat. And so what happens is, I think when you're not dating, you're just flat, right? You're not super happy. You don't get the highs of love, but you don't get the lows of heartbreak. You don't get the lows of somebody acting a fool that day. So you're just baseline and you're just cruising. But to me, I do believe that I would like to live life where, because I do think that when you get into the right relationship, where you truly have a partner that is there for you, accepts you, loves you, is in your corner no matter what, and it is possible to find when you tune your system to that, what ends up happening is your baseline is higher because you have what every human needs, which is love and connection. You need that. It's not just a want, it's a need. And when you have a partner where it's you're both on the same page and you're loving each other. Remember I posted on my story this week about one of my guy clients that got into a loving marriage. Look at his energy. He hasn't reached out to me. He doesn't need me because he feels good. He's up here. He's chilling. He's doing his. I'm sure they have their days. I'm sure they got their days where it hits the bottom, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Inherently, relationships are like that, right? It's going to go up and down, up and down. But a good relationship to me, you really have these long ups, quick downs, long ups, quick downs. And that to me is the life that I want to live. And I think most of us really want. So again, Jay's strategy is kind of like the benzo strategy, right? It's the anti-anxiety medication strategy, which is I'm just going to omit or remove all emotion in general, right? I'm not going to go down, but I'm not going to go up either. I'm going to be flat. And it's not a bad life either, though. Being single, and if you really are at peace with yourself, it could be good. Here's the thing. There's no hate to any lifestyle. There's no hate to any way that you want to live your life at all. There's not. But I guess to my point, even on the micro level, right? Relationships are going to affect your mood. I guess that's a really long way of saying that, is that inherently relationships are going to affect your mood. You know, it's funny. People always ask me why I got into this work, right? Like, Chris, why did you become a coach in the first place? And I always give them this example, which is like, when I was younger, I realized something really early on, which was like, if you ever ask somebody how they are doing, like if I was to, right now you're listening to it and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Most people's answer, right, usually, to me, is predicated on their relationship. If their relationship is stable and they're feeling good, it's usually, oh, I'm pretty good. I'm doing great. You know? And what I realized is that any time that somebody had negative energy, I'm all right. All right. Why just all right? It always starts with this. Oh, well, work's really stressful. I'm like, okay, that's the surface. Get to the real reason. Oh, work's a lot. But honestly, I'm talking to this, just goes right into that. I'm talking to this person and they're fucking giving me the fucking runaround, blah, blah, blah. What I realized very early on in my life is that most people's moods and their energy are dictated by their relationship. That's why I got into this work, because I realized if I'm going to help people, because I've always wanted to like make everybody feel better. You know me, Mr. fucking responsibility for everybody's feelings. I was like, how do I get and solve the root issue? And I realized that the root issue of most people's mood problems usually came from their relationships. 75 to 80%. I understand there's another 20% of like, oh, my family or my fucking work. Yeah. Shut up. We get it. Okay. But I would say on the whole, majority of people, their mood issues are relationships. This is why I got into this. Because if I can help them with their relationships and feel secure in themselves and attract better relationships, better moods, more confidence, better energy. So, all this to say is that relationships definitely affect your mood. I'm living proof, right? Again, I had these 2 days where I wasn't feeling amazing, all because of relationships, really. Yeah, my work, it fluctuates. And of course, that gives me a little agita, as they say in New York. I don't know if you guys ever heard that, agita. But really, to me, it's, for me, it's going to sound sick because, again, I'm avoidant. I'm an egotistical fuck. If I'm not getting the attention that I want, I feel like shit. It's fucking bullshit. I don't want to live like that. But again, this is why we got to cultivate the awareness of that. This is why I have my tools. This is why I have my best friend. This is why I have a coach. I have a coach. Yes, I do. You guys know this. Sometimes I'm running 2 at a time because I need to find stable peacefulness if I'm going to succeed in the things that I want to do. It's crazy because a lot of people, when their relationship's hitting the fan, they can't work. They can't do something creative. They can't do the things that they want to do. Like I said, to me, all of your problems come down to the relationship. It's fucked. But to more thoughtfully answer this, right? It's like your mood is going to be a little dependent on that. Having tools to regulate yourself, critical. Having partners in your corner that are showing up and turning our dial to the partners that are available and are showing up, critical. Getting rid of partners that are not aligned, getting rid of partners that are not showing up, regulating, you see what I'm saying? You need to do that. People don't realize that their whole mood sucks because they're literally just choosing to be in a relationship with somebody that is not showing up for them. It's crazy. But again, there's deeper issues to that. And that is the whole point of like getting coaching or doing any of that, is to get to the root of that. Why are you attracting this conditional sense of love? What beliefs do you have internally about yourself that are making you and turning your dial to the dismissive people, right? The client that I'm just talking about that I'm helping, right? She has a history of being dismissed. There's a reason that her dial is turned towards those fucking avoidant assholes. And they're not assholes. They're also hurt, which gets me to the last part of the question to wrap this whole podcast up, which is, she says, sometimes I think if I was more of an avoidant, dismissive, or fearful, maybe I would get the one I actually want. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. Because I hear this a lot, which is like a lot of my anxious are like, oh, I wish I was avoidant. It would be so much easier. No. Let me tell you something right now. Not true. Here's what you don't realize about that. I've been an avoidant my entire life. Yes, there's moments where you feel good because, again, there's a lot of times where you'll get attention and egotistically people will give you attention, but it's fleeting as fuck. It goes up and down. Just as much as your mood goes up and down, so does mine. It's not any different than yours. And the hard part is do you really want an attachment where if anybody gets fucking close to you at all, that you can't even sink into real love? You really want that? Everybody always thinks that being avoidant is so much better. No, it's not. A lot of these people are fucking single and sometimes miserable as fuck. And the problem is you don't see it because they don't show anybody their emotions. But deep down, there's a little kid inside of those bodies that wants love, that never got love, that struggles to receive it honestly. You know, think about the moment for me where I told you guys I was like crashed out crying. You know, actually, I'm going to share something even really more vulnerable. This podcast is fucking awesome for you guys. You guys got a treat today. You guys want to know something crazy? Oh, man. So my dad hit me up, right, this week, and he wanted to get on a phone call. Something happened to him in his relationship. I'm not going to spill the details on it because I just want to protect his privacy. And to be honest, I've like never shared anything about my dad really much on here. But me and him had an hour phone call. And the reason he reached out to me is because, hey, you're good at relationships. He's like, you think you could help me? My dad has never, ever said that to me in his life. Ever. For him to text me that and to ask me for help, homie was down bad. This was the longest phone call I probably ever had with my dad. To be honest, in my life. It happened yesterday. I'm 32 years old. About to be 33. And I'm not going to go deep into his challenges and what has happened to him. He's later in life. But what I realized is that my dad is an avoidant too. And he got into a situation in his relationship in which, you know what he did? He was having friction in his relationship and the girl that he was with called him. He didn't call her back. He got home. They didn't talk. And he just never addressed it with her for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Doesn't that sound familiar? What happened to Chris back in the day with long distance girl? How many times would I run away from that girl? All the time. Break up, run away, don't want to deal with the problems. Break up, run away. And this is why I told you guys, communication is the oxygen of relationships. Because believe it or not, he does that again, right? Because he doesn't want to address the issue. And now he's going through a separation. And it was like, it just like hit me in that moment of like, holy shit, like we're exactly alike, number one. I'm like, I wonder why I'm so fucking recluse. There's so much deeper like details to that story that make it fantastic that, again, I just don't want to share because I just don't want to like blow up him. I never, it's like weird even like talking about it. But it was actually really cool that he doesn't realize it, but that was a really cool moment because it was like, that was the first time that we really shared that amount of vulnerability with each other. And like, yeah, it sucks that that happened to him, but maybe it made him realize, or I think I like, I told him, I was like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you can't run away from something. I was like, I learned my lesson. I thank God I learned it at 32 and not fucking 60. That's tough. But I was like, you can't do that. Like you got to show up. Like you got to communicate. You can't run away from these things. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like you think to yourself, like being an avoidant is so much better. It's like, it sucks to not be allowed to like, you're so scared of like vulnerability that you won't allow love into your life. Both sides are hard. It's not one or the other. Compassion for all human beings, anxious and avoidant. We're all struggling, right? Or we all struggle with these things. They're challenges. Can they be reversed? Yes. Right? Learning lessons. This is a lesson for him. He was sweeping shit under the rug for so long in this relationship that he needed to see this. And sometimes you need this discomfort in your life. And that's what I told him. I was like, I know that it's really bleak and it's hard in this time. And I'm sure it's a lot of pain. But this is the point of pain, right? And I even told my coachee, the one that, again, was going through all those avoidance. I was like, you were fucking with avoidance for 30 years to learn this lesson. You need to experience an enormous amount of pain and uncomfortability to learn some fucking lessons in life. So sometimes you don't realize, but I was like, this might end up being the best thing for you. This pain that you're feeling, this lesson that you're feeling, it sucks because what happens is we all want to go back and change. What do you think his reaction is? Oh shit, I don't want to lose her. Like why? Like, no, I don't want to. Now that it's real, now that it's actually going away, now he wants to communicate. And that's what happens for a lot of avoidance too. I mean, think about me. That was with me too, right? I ran away. She finally I did the same thing. 2 weeks. I try to come back. She's gone. It's crazy how me and my dad had the literal same exact experience. But it also goes to show that this is like generational patterns that you're trying to break. It's not easy. Have compassion for yourself. Have compassion for that avoidant. This makes me think about the girl that even ghosted me, right? The one that I gave her my availability. Like I told you guys, like, I don't really think that she just disliked me. I just think that I was overwhelming to her. My social media was overwhelming to her. Me just showing up and being available was overwhelming to her. I mean, maybe she doesn't like me, but honestly, I'm telling you, it's just weird. Because what happens for a lot of you, the anxious that have some boundaries, I want you to ask yourself or talk about this to your own mind right now, which is like, think about it. When you deal with that avoidant partner and you finally set that boundary once and for all, and you're like, fuck this, I'm not letting you come back, what happens? Oh no, I miss you. I love you. Fuck. So again, do you really want to be an avoidant where it's like you don't allow anybody to get close and pretty much what happens is that maybe you do actually like them a little bit, but you can't ever actually sink in and give people commitment and then wait until they fucking destroy your life because they finally have enough of your shit? The goal is not the outcome. And when you're thinking about being an avoidant, when you're an anxious person, you're thinking about the outcome too much. You're thinking about trying to control another person. Oh, if I was less anxious, I would get the guy. Which, don't get me wrong, there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. I do think that if you had more emotional regulation and you could show up with more balance, that you will have a better chance at receiving that partner. But to think that you want to be the complete other side, that's a myth. That's a lie you're telling yourself. Why don't you tell yourself, instead of I want to be avoidant, hey, I just want to be secure. I want to be able to trust myself. I want to be able to regulate my emotions. I want to be able to let go of somebody that rejects me. Actually, when I meet an avoidant guy and they dismiss me, I want to be able to set a boundary, let him go, and turn my dial and find somebody that's emotionally available. Find somebody that's actually fucking obsessed with me. And obsessed is too much. We don't want that. We want balance. But hopefully you run into a guy like me. An ethical avoidant who's willing to communicate and give you the space and the time to slow yourself down versus the other avoidants, the non-ethical avoidants who don't have any awareness over themselves that will just dismiss you and run away and not be able to communicate because they don't have the skills and the tools. You want the ethical avoidant. And you could become the ethical anxious, which is, hey, I see that I'm anxious, but I'm trying to slow myself down. That's all you need. You don't need to be perfect. And that's the other thing too, for all these attachments, you don't need to be perfect. I'm not perfect. The girl I'm talking to is not perfect. It's not about that. It's about being good enough. Not perfect. You need to be good enough. You need to communicate good enough. Not perfect, good enough. You need to slow down enough. Not completely perfect. Just enough. The right person is then going to meet you there at good enough. And just a little reminder, you are good enough. As you are, imperfect. Trust it. Trust in your path. Trust in your learning. You're going to get there. You're going to get a great relationship. I promise you that. I don't need a crystal ball sidekick bitch to tell me that. I'm the sidekick, all right, bitch? And if you do this motherfucking work, you're going to get the shit that you want. No sidekick needed. Save the fucking $200 and send it my way because I'll get you right. All right. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.